Hello there, you're watching Nightline. I'm Anita. News making the headlines. World power urged to put an end to fighting in Gaza Strip. And MACC uncovers scam involving 100 million ringgit worth of rice supplies. The international community and world powers must take up the responsibility to immediately halt the fighting in Palestine, which has erupted between the Israeli regime and Hamas, which is in power in Gaza. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Rayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah said this measure is necessary to ensure peace and stability, as well as prevent further bloodshed in the country. Controller of the Royal Household of Istana Negara, Major General Datuk Zahari Muhammad Arifin, in a statement on Monday, conveyed the King's sorrow and concern over the latest conflict in Palestine that has claimed hundreds of lives on both sides. Zahari said Al-Sultan Abdullah also expressed support for the Malaysian government's call for the United Nations Security Council to take immediate action to stop all acts of violence, while also respecting and protecting the lives of civilians. Al-Sultan Abdullah said the denial of the basic rights of the Palestinian people, especially the establishment of an independent and sovereign state, as well as the ongoing oppression, were the root causes of the continued Israel-Palestine tensions. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong also emphasized that Malaysia and its people always stand in solidarity with Palestine and prayed for the protection of its people and the liberation of their homeland from the occupation and oppression of the Israeli regime. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said Malaysia remains steadfast in its stand that the Palestinians must be granted absolute freedom from Israel's illegal occupation. He also said that Malaysia's stance on the conflict was clear and the government's foreign policy would continue to prioritise Palestine's struggle to liberate its land and people.
Malaysia kekal berpendirian bahawa rakyat Palestin perlu dikembalikan hak mutlak bebas daripada pendudukan haram Israel, hak dikembalikan tanah yang telah dirampas oleh Israel dan hak membentuk sebuah negara Palestin yang merdeka dan berdaulat dengan Baitul Muqaddis Timur sebagai ibu negara mesti terus diperjuangkan.
He said this when debating on the Israel-Palestine conflict in the Dewan Rakyat on Monday. Ahmad Zahid added that the international community, particularly the United Nations Security Council, should also increase pressure on Israel to end its apartheid policy and inhumane action against the Palestinian people, as well as to take immediate action to call on all parties to stop the war at once for regional security and stability. During the debate, MPs from both sides of the divide were also in unison in support of the Palestinian people's struggle to claim their rights and sovereignty oppressed by Israel's Zionist regime. Meanwhile, at the Parliament lobby, Ahmad Zahid announced that the government will channel 1 million ringgit to the Humanitarian Trust Fund for the People of Palestine, or AAKRP, managed by the Foreign Ministry. This is to swiftly provide humanitarian assistance to the Palestinian people who are in dire need of various forms of aid. In the meantime, more than 500 Palestinians have been killed, while at least 2,750 others wounded as of Monday, amid heavy fighting and bombardment following the largest attack by the Zionist regime against Palestinians in decades. The Israeli military said it hit more than 1,000 targets in Gaza, including air raids that leveled much of the town of Beit Hanun and Shujaiya neighborhood on Monday. The ruthless air attack also targeted the Jabalia refugee camp, killing more than 50 Palestinians. The Zionist military also destroyed a mosque in Yarmouk, forcing thousands more to evacuate their homes. Israel has also announced a complete siege of Gaza, saying authorities would cut electricity and block the entry of food and fuel. The announcement came as the Zionist regime intensified their attacks by calling up an unprecedented 300,000 reservists and warned residents of parts of the Gaza Strip to leave in the latest signs it could be planning a ground assault to defeat Hamas. As bodies and injured people were being rushed into a hospital in Gaza on Monday following an Israeli airstrike that targeted El Susi Mosque, an elderly woman called on other Palestinian cities and other countries to come to thetheir aid.
يا رب قبوا مع أولادنا يا رب اللي راحت شبابنا اللي ضاعت يا رب والله ربنا في الحبات عينينا يا رب والله ما شفناهم شباب يا رب.
In other news, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, has uncovered fraudulent activities carried out by a rice supply company in Kedah, which has disrupted the distribution and sale of the country's staple food. According to a source, the company secured a contract from a state-owned agricultural company valued at over 100 million ringgit per year to supply rice in Peninsular Malaysia. The source said that based on the contract signed 7 years ago, the company obtained a bank loan for 30 million ringgit. However, the suspect was alleged to have submitted documents containing false information to the bank. The source added that the director of the company allegedly conspired with a board member of the state-owned firm to confirm the purchase and delivery of 28,000 tons of rice per year, worth over 100 million ringgit, but the rice was never supplied by the company. When contacted, MACC Senior Investigations Director, Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Hashim, confirmed the investigation and said the case was being investigated under Section 18 of the MACC Act, which relates to the offence of submitting false claims. Former Second Finance Minister Datuk Sri Johari Ghani has proposed for the government to raise the ceiling price for local white rice to 32 ringgit per 10 kilograms from the current rate of 26 ringgit. The Titiwangsa MP told the Dewan Rakyat that this is to incentivise paddy farmers to grow more paddy to overcome the current supply shortage.
Tetapi yang paling penting ialah kita nak galakkan bahawa setiap pesawah kita dia boleh mendapat keuntungan. Bila dia boleh untung dan juga apabila syarikat-syarikat di luar sana yang besar-besar ni, bila dia tengok industri ini boleh menguntungkan, maka mereka akan datang sama-sama terlibat secara langsung bagaimana nak membangunkan industri beras ini.
He also emphasised the importance of developing the local rice industry, similar to what has been done for palm oil, to address the current rice shortage, which has impacted 3.2 million B40 households nationwide. He said this as rice is the only commodity, apart from palm oil, that holds the potential to be self-sustaining in Malaysia. In other news, Agriculture and Food Security Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Sabu assured on Monday that Malaysia has an ample rice stock projected to meet the country's needs for the next 4 to 5 months. According to him, as of October 3rd, the national rice supply stands at an impressive 820,482 tons.
Yang terdiri daripada 250,000 tan metrik stokpile kerajaan dan 570,482 tan metrik stok dagangan. Jumlah ini adalah mencukupi untuk menampung keperluan beras negara bagi tempoh 4 hingga 5 bulan.
Mohammed said that since the launch of the local white rice special program on September 20th, nearly 709,000 bags of 10 kilograms local white rice have been distributed across Peninsular Malaysia through retail chains such as supermarkets and shops, as well as the Federal Agriculture Marketing Authority, FAMA, and the Farmers Organisation Board, LPP. He also said that the retail price of imported white rice will be adjusted from time to time based on global market prices and currency exchange rates.
Penjenayah yang paling dikendaki iaitu Mat Komando berjaya melarikan diri.
Kalau polis umpamanya nak bertindak, he want to kill the policeman.
Kumpulan ni, dia rompak dia tak pakai topi muka. Dia memang bagi rompak serbu begitu saja.
Fail Mahkamah, Rabu 9 malam di TV3 dan stream secara HD di Tonton.
Still on Nightline. The construction of all 5 littoral combat ships, LCS, has been extended by an additional 83 months with an expected completion date in 2029. According to the Public Accounts Committee, PAC, this is in contrast to the original contract, which had stipulated that all 5 vessels were to be delivered to the Royal Malaysian Navy by 2022. Its Vice Chairman Wong Shu-chi at a press conference on Monday said the PAC noted that there had been no progress on the construction of the first LCS ship from December 2021 till June 10th this year.
Melalui pelan mobilisasi yang terkandung dalam SA5 yang ditandatangani pada 31 Mei 2022, MINDEF merancang dengan lebih teliti selepas kegagalan menepati jadual asal pembinaan LCS di mana ke-6 kapal sepatutnya siap pada tahun 2023.
She added that the main issue about the LCS's detailed design, which is currently 96% complete, has not yet been resolved. According to PAC's report on the LCS progress posted on the Parliament website on Monday, only 84% of the detailed design had gone through the confirmation, verification and approval stage by LCS Design Supervisor, the naval group from France. As such, the PAC recommended that the Defence Ministry, MINDEF, ensure that the contractor completes the detailed design, including obtaining approval from the naval group before August 2024, as mentioned in the 6th Supplementary Contract, SA6. The committee also has admonished MINDEF for not getting the approval of the Attorney General's Chambers, AGC, before signing a supplementary contract for the Navy's troubled LCS project earlier this year. The government is bringing back the National Service Training Programme through a PLKN 3.0, but with a fresh approach, with the training sessions conducted at the existing 13 territorial army camps and 1 police training centre, Buletin, located all over the country. Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan said that PLKN 3.0 will be implemented in 2 phases, with Phase 1 conducted at the school level, focusing on enhancing existing uniform units under the school's co-curricular activities, followed by a training programme lasting 45 days at the military camps, which can accommodate up to 20,000 trainees under Phase 2.
Selepas daripada itu, mereka yang telah selesai SPM, mereka ini akan dilatih pula ataupun diambil pada apa dipanggil fasa kedua. Fasa kedua ini lebih kepada kita nak memberi latihan disiplin dan juga latihan kepada berasaskan ketenteraan. Itu sebabnya dia punya cadangan supaya pusat-pusat latihan ini diadakan di kem-kem tentera. Pagi ini
Mohammed pointed out that PLKN 3.0 aims to prepare and train youths for strong character and a deep love for their country, as well as equipping them for future employment in crucial government agencies. He also said by organising PLKN 3.0 in the Army camps and Police Training Centre and employing military personnel as instructors at these facilities, the government could cut annual spending from 500 million ringgit to 100 million ringgit. Mohammed added that the paperwork was currently being prepared at the ministry level and will be submitted to the National Security Council, MKN, for approval. The 3-month PLKN, made compulsory for selected teenagers aged 18 and above, was first introduced in December 2003. It was temporarily halted in 2015 due to cost-cutting measures and resumed as PLKN 2.0 in the following year before it was abolished in August 2018. Afghan quake rescuers race to find survivors. News from the foreign front right after this breather. Stay tuned. Rescue workers on Monday scrambled to pull out survivors and the dead from beneath building rubbles 2 days after the northwestern city of Herat and its surroundings were struck by the deadliest earthquake to rattle Afghanistan in years. The Taliban administration said so far at least 2,400 people were killed and many more injured in the quakes, which were among the world's deadliest this year. With communications down and many roads blocked, rescue workers are struggling to reach remote areas, and in a country with sorely inadequate medical facilities, hospitals are struggling to care for the injured. Aid agencies and NGOs have appealed to the international community for help, but only a handful of countries have publicly offered support, with neighbouring China and Pakistan among them. The death toll from flash floods unleashed by a glacial lake bursting its banks in India's Himalayas rose to 74 on Monday, with 101 people, including 14 army personnel, still missing days after the calamity struck. Following the torrential rain in the northeastern state of Sikkim, torrents of water swept down narrow river valleys from Lohnak Lake, damaging a dam and wreaking destruction in villages and Rangpo town, about 50 kilometers south of state capital Gangtok. It was reported that rescuers had so far found 25 bodies in the state, and bodies of 8 army men were washed away, found in the neighbouring downstream state of West Bengal. The search for more survivors, however, was hampered by damaged roads, poor communication and bad weather. After this quick breather, Leverkusen. Football, the German Bundesliga. Bayer Leverkusen returned to the top of standings with a convincing 3-0 win over Cologne in the Rhineland derby. Leverkusen dominated the clash right from kickoff. Florian Wirtz's back heel set up Jonas Hoffmann for the opener after 22 minutes, with Jeremy Frimpong making it 2-0 10 minutes later, tapping in an accurate low cross from the left side. Victor Bonifaci added the third on the 67th minute, his 7th goal of the season, to complete a 6th win in 7 games for Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso's unbeaten side now have 19 points, one more than Stuttgart, who beat Wolfsburg 3-1 on Saturday. In another match, Bayern Munich moved back up into third place with a dominant 3-0 victory over Freiburg. Kingsley Coman was fortunate to see his miss-hit cross-sail over the Freiburg goalkeeper and into the net to open the scoring in the 12th minute. Harry Kane had his chances but would not get on the score sheet this time as he turned provider for Leroy Sané to make it 2-0 in the 25th minute. Coman got lucky again 5 minutes from time when a shot took a big deflection off Philipp Lienhard to seal a 3-0 win for Bayern. Unbeaten Bayern now have 17 points from 7 games, 2 behind leaders Bayer Leverkusen and 1 behind Stuttgart. Freiburg's 3rd defeat to the season sees them drop to 9th. OCD, a silent foe affecting people. The details when we return. Don't go away. Welcome back. Haze has become an almost yearly occurrence for Malaysia. And for decades, the government has been engaging neighbouring countries to address the problem. But with no end in sight, is it time to take stronger action? Danish Raja Reza and Amira Huda investigate.
Watery eyes, a runny nose, and a sore throat. These symptoms are sure signs of the return of an unwelcome guest, haze. The problem, as we all know, is not new. Malaysians have been putting up with haze arising from fires in neighboring countries, particularly Indonesia, for years. To put the matter to bed once and for all, there have been renewed calls for the introduction of the Transboundary Haze Act. This will allow the government to take action against companies that cause haze in Malaysia, regardless of where the burning occurs. Former Energy, Technology, Science, Climate Change and Environment Minister Yobi Yin says, if enacted, the law will require companies to report landmines in risky areas and oblige Indonesia to share satellite data on hotspots.
Most of the big companies, they don't do slash and burn themselves, but we do not know whether or not they buy land that is cleared by slash and burn methods. So what we want is to make it mandatory in high-risk countries that will cause transboundary haze to disclose the land that they buy and that how the method of clearing of the land before they bought the land.
But environmental expert Helena Vorki of University Malaya says the solution is not so straightforward.
So of course, Malaysia has always tried to be a bit more cautious when dealing with any sensitive issues with Indonesia. So to change the approach to something a bit more legal-based, something a bit more black and white, of course, is something quite, maybe to say risky or to say a bit out of the ordinary. But at the same time, I think if we do go about the act with a bit of care, I think we are able to navigate and have a win-win situation.
So what would a win-win legislation look like? Vorki says Malaysia can build upon existing solutions and learn from Singapore's experience in implementing a similar law in 2014.
Indonesia was uncomfortable with the fact that Singapore was able to even cover non-Singaporean entities. So now that we know how Indonesia looks at it, we can work around it. So it's actually very lucky for us to have had this opportunity. So I think it should be taken on as a learning opportunity to create a better, more effective act rather than steering away completely from it.
Vorki says this is of utmost priority in keeping with the spirit of ASEAN, which emphasizes good neighborliness and non-interference. After all, even if a law is enacted, Indonesia will play a significant role in holding the culprits accountable. Danish Raja Reza and Amira Huda, FMT for Nightline.
Kita mahu Malaysia ini dikenali sebagai negara madani yang mampu diangkat martabat rakyat dan negaranya.
Laksana reformasi fiskal.
Perkasa keterjaminan makanan.
Teliti dasar gaji progresif.
Seragam subsidi bersasar. Program khas Belanjawan 2024.
Jumaat 13 Oktober hanya di TV3.
Dan stream HD secara langsung ditonton.
Welcome back. Now, amidst the complexities of the human mind, obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD, remains a silent foe, stealthily affecting the lives of millions. In conjunction with World Mental Health Day, our reporter Alif Yunus delves into the often unseen struggles faced by people who suffer from this disorder.
Let's see, 3 o'clock, 3. I hope I didn't do anything stupid yesterday. 4, 5, 6, 7. How many hours did I sleep? How many hours did I sleep? How long did I sleep for? 3 a.m., 2, 3, 4.
OCD is a complex mental health condition which involves unwanted, intrusive thoughts or obsessions and compulsive behaviors. In Malaysia, about 3% of the population, or about 900,000 Malaysians, are believed to be suffering from OCD, which can affect men, women and children. For Amar Akmal, a master's degree student from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia (UKM), he exhibited peculiar behaviours associated with OCD from the age of 4, but only realised they were not normal and were not fading away by the time he turned 18.
I first seek out help from psychiatrists when I realised that I start to hear bells. Basically, it's just an illusion. So I know that this is something that is not normal. This might be something that caused from my brain or something like that. And I seek help from the psychiatrist, and he confirms that I did have OCD.
Amar also said living with OCD is a perpetual balance between periods of relative control and occasional spikes of intensity. Sometimes, the OCD's control over him changes over time, affecting his emotions and thoughts.
Usually, it is in control, but sometimes it can persist even more than that and cause me to be highly depressed. And like I said before, I cannot stop myself from overthinking about any sorts of bad things that might happen after this. So that's a problem of my OCD.
Amar also shared how he copes with these challenges through his creativity, showcasing the power of artistic expressions as a therapeutic outlet.
I found out that I can actually control these thoughts by usually do like art stuff. For example, back during in my university life, back in my degree life in UIA, I am like a head lead guitarist for the band. So I play guitar and I write poetry, write drama and script.
Other than the common challenges and struggles that can interfere with their relationships and ability to carry out daily activities, people with OCD may also face discrimination in their workplaces due to misconceptions about the disorder, despite it is a treatable condition. Therefore, it is important for society to show empathy for individuals with OCD as well as by advocating for mental health awareness. By promoting understanding and supporting those affected by mental health issues, we can create a more inclusive and compassionate society. Alif Yunus, TV3.
Thank you, Alif. Now, the subject of mental health largely remains unspoken in Malaysian society, but there are individuals working to break down those barriers. To find out more, FMT's Tivia Ragu met with 12 women from the B40 group who graduated as well-being ambassadors for their communities.
In a society where mental health remains taboo for many, one group of women from B40 communities has set out to spearhead change. Through an intensive training program by the NGO Women of Will and mental health organization ThriveWell, 12 women from PPR Lembah Subang and PPR Batu Muda recently graduated as well-being ambassadors. For many of them, this marked their first ever graduation of any kind. Equipped with essential skills such as psychosocial support and psychological first aid, these women are poised to return to their communities as champions of mental health. Among the 12 is Roslina Jali, a 50-year-old single mother who ranked among the top 3 ambassadors and who is driven to make a difference.
We try to educate diorang lah, sebab dekat PPR ada juga yang kes yang kemurungan, ada juga yang sampai cuba bunuh diri dan ada juga yang bunuh diri. So kalau boleh, I want to try to help them, bagi diorang macam nasihat lah, bimbingan kan.
While they also received training in nutrition, fellow graduate Ridwani Borhan says she is most passionate about mental health.
So, yang paling saya suka pengendalian emosi. So sebab saya memang ada masalah sikitlah tentang emosi, tentang ada stres banyak dalam rumah tangga.
Ridwani, who has overcome anger issues through these classes, is now better equipped to support her 2 children, one who has autism and the other dyslexia.
Penting kita jaga diri kita supaya kita boleh jaga orang lain. Nanti kita sakit sebab kita emosi, nanti kita jadi stres, kita jadi kemurungan. Kita tak boleh buat apa-apa. Kita terpuruk. Anak siapa nak bantu?
The NGO Women of Will aims to empower women to transform their lives and create self-sustainable communities, while ThriveWell has been on a mission since 2021 to provide accessible and affordable mental health care to all. As they expand their reach, Malaysia may well witness a mental health revolution beginning with these underprivileged communities. Divya Ragu, FMT Lifestyle for Nightline.
As we wrap up Nightline this time around, we take a look as hundreds of adults gather in South London to participate in the traditional British game of conkers. With that, I'm Anita. Thank you for watching and be well, Malaysia.